Yeah, how many drivers have you actually had to ride for you? Because
In NASCAR,
in NASCAR,
I think 75 or 80.
so.
More than the Wood brothers.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody else has more than that.
I mean, a lot of them.
And when you think about all those drivers that have, like, which ones stick out, for good reasons, that you enjoyed having them in your race cars?
Oh, we've had a lot of fun with them and all. Neil Bonnett was one of my favorite guys. We're real good friends. Neil got killed in my car in '94, and but he was something special to me.
Yeah.
He'd run with you before?
Short track, and he'd been going to the races with me for years. And him and Frankie Grill had a short track car place there in Hueytown. And Bobby, when Bobby was coming up, around the short tracks, I was short tracking with him. And Neil was driving some for Bobby. And he would go to Wisconsin and everything, run for Bobby when Bobby couldn't make it. So back then he had a business showing up and racing the short tracks, and Bobby had 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah. We have had Neil Bonnett stories a lot on this show because, a lot of the people that sit in that seat were friends with Dale Earnhardt, and if you're friends with Dale Earnhardt, you're friends with Neil a lot of times, right? So I don't remember how that deal all happened. I just know he was coming out of retirement, right? Or he was coming out for a race. Maybe you know better than I, obviously, but
I mean, one race deal or something.
It was just a one race deal, right?
No, it was five races.
Was it? Five races.
Okay. And it was going to be the Daytonas and Indy.
Got it.
That was the first year that we went to Indy, to the Indy Brickyard.
94.
94.
How hard was that to? I mean, I would want to not race anymore. You know what I mean? How did you?
Well, that was real hard.
Yeah.
We were. I got back then. NASCAR owned the ambulances. They had some old Econoline vans and all. So when they got Neil in the van, I'd walked out there and I'd got in the van, and Buster let me get in the van or whatever. He was there. So we went to the hospital, and I looked back there, and they was working on Neil and his chest and everything. And so we pulled up to the portico at the hospital, and I got out of the front of the van, and they were pulling Neil out of the back of the van with a stretcher, and I seen it wasn't good, so I just kind of sat down, and they took him on in there. So they got me and brought me in a room in there. And so a little while later, Bill France Jr. and some of them comes over there, and then here comes Bobby. And at that time, Bobby couldn't hardly walk. He was still from the Pocono wreck.
Yeah.
And he was in pretty bad shape. And so I'd got a hold of the Caterpillar dealer in Birmingham, and I called David Bonnett and all of them. So I was able to. Susan was on her way down to Daytona, and she was supposed to get there probably in 30 minutes or so. And they were trying to keep it off there where she was going. So, but I was able to get Neil's kids down there about the time Susan got there. So
Dang.
And that was a bad deal. So I had Country Time was sponsoring our car, which was Procter and Gamble or whoever. It was a big deal. And they had Al Unser Jr. Running the IROC deal. So the PR guy wanted, he said, "You got a backup car, so we get Al Jr. to drive the backup car." I said, "No, we come down here with Neil. We going home. If he's not running, we're not gonna run." And so I withdrew, and we went home.
Did that deal went away?
No, I finished out the 5 races.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Who drove the car then?
Purvis. I put
Jeff
Purvis in
Purvis
there.
did.
And so we went to Indy, and they were 85 cars there.
Yeah.
First year.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we qualified 27th, got in the show, and it was a big paying race, a couple $100,000 a start or more. And so we were able to make the race, and Rick Mask, I think, was on the pole.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was here last week and was talking about that race,
Yeah.
being on the pole.
He was there. And did they all win it?
No, Jeff Gordon won the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. But you kept on racing. So, Neil's tragic accident, as hard as it was, you
Well, while we were getting ready to race, we were at Talladega testing, and Davey comes in and kills himself on the
Oh, that y'all were testing
Helicopter.
when that happened?
Yes.
My God.
Gosh, so that would have been before. Was that before the Neil Bonnett accident?
Yes.
So yeah. So you guys were testing at Talladega. Was Davey? Why was Davey coming to the track?
Just
To
to
see,
hang out.
see,
Just
to
to watch
see
the
us,
test?
to
Yeah.
see us, because he knew Neil was testing. So him and Red
Oh.
Farmer,
That explains it.
Davey was buying the helicopter from Butch, the parts guy.
Mott?
Yeah, no, the parts guy,
BSR.
BSR?
Yes.
Butch Stevens.
Okay.
There you go.
So he was in Butch's helicopter. So he come in there and he almost hit the truck, and he pulled it up, and the tail hit the ground, and it flipped over, and it crashed. So Neil was on the track. So Johnny Allen had got Red out of the car, pulled him out. When Neil comes in, he runs up there and grabs Red and pulls him some more, and he broke his shoulder and all. So they got Davey to the hospital, and then Neil called me about 5 o'clock the next morning, and they'd give Davey his last rites, and they were going to take his organs.
Man.
Wow, you've been through it, man. You've experienced it. This racing stuff, it can be pretty brutal. I mean, for
Yeah.
lifers like this.
Well, there was a bunch of them going through it at that time. When Neil got killed on Saturday morning down there, I believe it was Pete Orr or Rodney Orr.
Yeah, Rodney Orr.
Orr.
Got killed on Monday.
Yep.
We was Neil's funeral when that happened, and I was on a Hoosier deal, and because my dirt racing, I had a full Hoosier deal. Well, they pulled the Hoosiers out of the. Loy Allen was on the pole on a set of Hoosiers, and they pulled out the Hoosiers, and so later on that year, Hoosier withdraws from NASCAR,
Yeah.
and so that I wouldn't have to buy tires.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. But we had Petty Kid.
Yeah.
We lost him right in that time.
2000.
And then I had a kid that worked on my crew out here at Charlotte when they were racing those. Humpy had a sportsman division,
Oh, yeah.
and his name was Bubby Phillips, and he was in one of Terry Labonte's old Oldsmobiles.
Yeah.
And he come off a 4, and it kicked up, and he hit that post, and it took him off. And I mean, it was worst thing ever happened at a racetrack. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of bad wrecks in that series.
yeah,
But eventually went away, but
they was gonna run out of people.
yeah.